You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, stories of hope, inspiration, and overcoming adversity. We are live, as always, on Business Talk Radio and social media. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I am a certified life and career coach, and this show is really an opportunity for people to come forward and share stories to help inspire all of us. We've had someone on this program before whom I really have the most respect for. Her name is Diane Floyd Boehm, and today it's an honor to welcome her daughter, Rachel Boehm. Rachel is extremely accomplished. Let's bring her out. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. You're coming to us from Virginia today, correct?
Yes, Alexandria, just outside of Washington, D.C.
Very nice area. My family lives down that way. So, Rachel, as I said at the beginning of the show, you have accomplished so much, and I hope that I don't miss anything when I'm I'm giving all of your credentials, because you've earned all of it, and I'm so proud of you. So Rachel is an entrepreneur, and she is a board certified wellness coach, and she's also, and I love this, a doctoral student, and she is studying industrial organized psychology. Wow, that is a mouthful. And there's other things that you do too. I mean, I looked at your website, which is beautiful, and you're just killing it. So welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. I appreciate it.
So, Rachel, when you think about all of the ways that you give back and how you help people, what really has the most meaning for you?
Actually, it's today. I'll just answer by way of a story, right? Stories truly capture it. Someone messaged me, a customer for my skincare business messaged me and said that they were committed to helping me grow my business and find the people that I'm looking to help because I've helped them so much. And I almost spilled my coffee, it was just the most touching thing, because that is at the heart of everything I do. Those moments when you find out that you're succeeding in your mission of helping somebody look in the mirror and feel proud of the person they see staring back at them, whether it's because of the reflection or because of what's underneath that reflection. They're contributing more to their family or to themselves by way of building their own micro enterprise or taking chances that they might not otherwise have taken because they have more courage and self-empowerment, or because they just suddenly feel comfortable in their own skin.
That's beautiful. So you started this journey when and how?
Let's see, maybe I want to say, part of me wants to say my whole life, right, has been building to this. I think so many of us come to a giving profession because we've needed to be that recipient before. I probably should only speak for myself though. So I started in the health and wellness space to fix myself. I use fix, obviously I didn't need fixing, but we think that we do. We think there's something broken. So you chase the things that you think will fix that. And through my own self-healing, I realized that I was given that journey to then survive it and learn how to pay it forward so that I could be the resource that I was missing for so long for some other people, so that maybe their journey was just a little less burdensome. And in some ways that started over 10 years ago, and in some ways it started a little over 7 years ago. I've had my skincare business with R+F for about 7 years now, and I started coaching in various capacities that long ago that I have to pause and think about it.
And when you say R+F, you mean Rodan and Fields, just for people who are watching might not know.
Yeah.
So you and I have spoken before, and I've always been in awe of your beautiful skin and your beautiful hair. So tell us how Rodan and Fields and the work you're doing is helping people take that beauty from within and have it manifest outwardly.
Absolutely. I mean, and it really works with everything that I do. So when you look good, you feel good. And I put this in my memoir. I'm mostly an open book at this point because I did publish one. My first career was in the film and television industry, theater, fine arts. And for me, that was not the healthiest environment. And I felt like, even through bullying from school, I just, this early life of wanting to be like everybody else and looking like everybody else, and being told and being felt that I wasn't pretty enough or smart enough, or I needed to look a certain way to be successful. And other people were even defining what success should mean for me. And what I love about the true wellness mission and true dermatology-based approaches is that it's not this cosmetic fix. It's not about making somebody else look like a magazine cover, or taking what is them and stripping it so that they look like some cookie cutter. It is about helping them identify what is unique and beautiful about themselves, so that they can radiate their own qualities, so that they can be the healthiest, most vibrant person or version of their own person.
Thank you for sharing that in your transparency. I think so many of us, I know with me, a lot of my life, I let other people tell me what it is I'm supposed to be doing, or how I'm supposed to look, or what I should weigh, and after you hear that long enough, you really start to believe it. And I know for me, and I want to hear then about you, I know for me, for my journey, it took a long time to eliminate that negative energy and those negative people so that I could focus on me and who I truly was. So for people who are out there who are going through that right now, right? A lot of people are at home and they're in a lockdown situation, and they're starting to question themselves, and maybe they don't like how they look and how they feel mentally. And you're such an expert when it comes to wellness. What are some tips that you can give people that they could start with right now to feel better about themselves inside and out?
Yeah, I mean, depending on where they are in that continuum, I feel like should just first say, if you are really struggling, please reach out and get help. I'm really thrilled that so many folks are, and I'm lucky enough to be friends with some of them, are working to get the suicide hotline number down to 3 digits. So, there is a continuum, but I want to honor that if there is a dark place that you are at, please, go past what I'm about to say and please reach out and get help. But for those that are just simply struggling and feeling overwhelmed, first know that it is okay to question, and it is okay to ask yourself and to take inventory. The next step is following that with action, right? So I think we could all ease so much of our pain if we were able to sit a little bit longer with the questions, with the self-reflection, and with our emotions, and be comfortable labeling them, and just peeling back the onion of, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? And that might be a really great place to start. The other thing that's really important is practicing some self-compassion. And part of that is what you just shared, right? So many of us are in this together in our own ways, for sure, but still in it together. There is a common humanity. Reaching out to finding those people that you can relate to, or even just reminding yourself that there are other people going through what you are going through. And then from there, just giving yourself a little bit of grace. You're checking the perfectionism. There's no such thing. And it would be really boring if we all were. And just finding your way through those steps. But I really encourage anyone to look up what self-compassion is and how they might be able to use that to propel themselves a little bit forward and build a little bit more resilience, and practice a little bit of stress management, so that those churning thoughts can be more positive rather than negative.
I really like what you said there, and especially the word grace. I mean, that's not something that we give ourselves very often, is it? It's
No.
I know even myself as a coach and doing affirmations and gratitude sessions and meditation and yoga, there's sometimes when there's that voice and it's just like, you're not good enough. You're not trying hard enough. And now what I do is I listen to it and I say, okay, that's it. You had your 2 minutes. Now I'm not listening to that anymore. I'm moving forward, because we can get so caught up in letting negativity paralyze us, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, the fact that you just shared that you hear that voice, I mean, I hear it. We're not up here because we don't have these problems and we don't hear them. We're up here because we've built the skills of handling and responding in a way that's nourishing, using stress to our advantage. It's a skill. It's not an attribute that you were born with. And that's where coaches come in, and it's where, evidence-based advice comes in, is to help you develop those so that you can use these moments to propel you forward rather than hold you back. And I really appreciate what you said about just stress overwhelming. I was thinking about this morning, actually. Just so many people, you feel so overwhelmed for whatever reason that you just don't take any action. And that sometimes can just be the worst possible non-step, right, that you do.
That's very true. And I think also for, like, I have a chronic illness, ulcerative colitis. I never talked about it, and now it's like I feel like I got to stop talking about it. But because I have this illness, what I let it do to me mentally almost broke me. And now it's like, I can't believe I've climbed out of there instead of identifying myself as I have ulcerative colitis. And so therefore I can't do this. Therefore he won't love me. Therefore she doesn't want to know me. And now it's kind of like where I'm going so far that it's just something I have. I don't let it keep me down. So I would hope that other people can learn how to do that too. And you talked about when you were out, I think you said in Los Angeles, and some things that you went through, but you can grow and you can overcome and you can move on.
Absolutely. You're not defined by, we hear this, right? You're not defined by your illness. You're not defined by your trials and tribulations. You can use them to guide a path and wave that banner when you feel called, but that doesn't have to be the only thing about you and the only banner that you have to wave, should you want to wave it at all.
And you know what's interesting, Rachel, as I'm sitting here putting up different banners, there's not just one banner for Rachel. She's on the show, right? I could have like 15 banners that I could run back and forth with all the different things that you're doing. So it's kind of an analogy, but we're not just one banner. So
right, exactly.
So we have to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk, if you're open to this, I want to talk about your doctoral journey. I have a doctorate, and it's so empowering that a woman who already has accomplished so much has decided to get her doctorate in an area that practice a study that has to be very challenging. So let's take some time and talk about that. We are here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. We are live on Business Talk Radio and social media, and my guest today is Rachel Boehm, and we will be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Caruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
Looking for children's books to embrace the imagination, to inspire your kids to be the best they can be and to love themselves? Look no further. Children's author DianeFloydBoehm.com. You'll find the books right there and on Amazon and local stores.
My stomach issues make me want to stay home, but that's not an option. No matter how prepared I am, I still feel nervous. Enough is enough.
If this sounds familiar, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation can offer you support and connect you with a specialist.
Don't keep your symptoms to yourself. Get help at spillyourguts.org today.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hey, we're back here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, stories of hope, inspiration, and overcoming adversity. We are live on Business Talk Radio and social media, and my guest today is Rachel Boehm. Rachel is an entrepreneur. She is a board-certified wellness coach, and she's a doctoral student. So let's talk about the doctorate. What's that journey been like, Rachel?
Well, it's new. I just started in June or July. But in a way, I mean, you know this, you have your doctorate. I was looking for years for the right program, and there's never a right time. So I don't want to say the timing to be right, but to feel like I was in the best place I could be to start that journey. So kicked it off in June.
And guess what? You're still going. There's people who would have already dropped out, right?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
So talk to us about what it's like to have your own business, be an entrepreneur, and be available to help other people. You're constantly giving back, and yet you're in this program that is, how many years is it going to take?
It's 5. It's a 5
5 years. 5-year program that has a high level of workload, I would say, and you have to deliver at a certain level. So how do you manage all of this?
One step at a time.
Because looking at you, look like you have no stress whatsoever. Life is just, fairy play. It's just sugar plums and fairies, but we know that's not the case.
No, and you know what? Thankfully, it's not, right? I mean, those moments where, you're wanting to rip your own hair out, I mean, that's where you get to practice what you preach, and it makes you empathetic. If my life was just that, kicking back, eating bonbons, I wouldn't be able to connect with anyone. I wouldn't be any good at doing what I do. It's because I can relate, and like we were talking about before, have learned the skills and gone through that journey myself of developing those skills to put in place that I can then pass on to other people.
What do you hope to accomplish with your doctoral degree? Are you doing this because you like to further educate yourself, or do you want to take this degree and apply it in some way that you're not doing today?
Both. I'm a forever student, so part of me feels like I might as well get credit for it. But I really wanted to challenge myself. I have high aspirations, which isn't surprising considering everything else that I've done. And, my mom, so considering the parents that raised me, but I do feel called to, I don't feel like work should kill us. And for those that don't know, industrial organizational psychology, occupational health psychology, that's what that is about. It's about making people and organizations work better together. And I just don't feel like we should have to choose between making a living and living a life. And so many of us feel that we are forced with that choice. And I just call BS on that. There has to be a better way.
I like your transparency and your directness on that. I would agree with you. So you've got a phenomenal website. Let's put it back up here.
Thank you.
It's Rach Boehm. It's not Rachel. It's Rach, R-A-C-H, right?
It is. And my mom would tell me if I didn't give her the credit. She got me Rachel Boehm forever ago. And I had this moment where I thought, I'm so tired of maintaining stuff. I'm just going to do this one thing. And I let it go. And less than a year later, I regretted it and it was gone. And so this is the closest I've been able to get back to my name. So I'm working on it. Whoever has it, please let me have it back.
If you have RachelBoehm.com, please reach out to RachBoehm.com. And by the way, I hope your mom's watching. Hi, Diane. If you're watching, put something in the comments, please, or call in. We'd love to hear from you. Actually, the number to call in today is 631-438-1109, and I'll update our stream. So, Rachel, I wanted to talk about your website because it's so well done. It's so well put together that I'm going to take mine and try to mirror after yours. And I think it's important because as an entrepreneur, that's just one facet of what you have to deal with, but it is your face to a person who wants to work with you. So my question for you is, can you share with us, what are some of the things? Here's your mom. Let's say hi. Hi, she's on YouTube. Okay, she's on YouTube, not Facebook. Hi, Diane. What are some of the things as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that take up your time that you wish you could offload to someone else?
Oh my God, all of it. No, it's so funny that you're asking me this question because I am at a moment where I'm working with some amazing, wonderful women, this wonderful team of women to kind of rebrand and update with this direction that I'm pivoting to. And I was sharing with them that, the turnkey business is amazing. And I've never been more appreciative of it because the lift to develop your entire company without that, just from scratch, where you are the brand, you are everything, you are doing the marketing, social media, the website, the content, the looking for the clients, all of the load that comes into even just getting the potential call with a potential client. People don't realize how much work goes into that. And it's a wonderful lesson that I wish everybody could have a little bit of a taste of, because I think for me, at least, as I started doing that, I realized I thought I was supporting my fellow business owners before, and I really comparatively wasn't, and not to the degree that I thought. And it has made me a better patron, I hope, for those businesses, and given me tremendous insight. It's kind of like we say everybody should work retail or at a restaurant at least once. Same thing. Everybody should try to be their own marketer at least once, and maybe we'll have a better small business association.
I love that. By the way, we have another comment from Lori Floyd. Hi, Rachel. So proud of you.
Hi. It's one of my aunts. Thank you.
Hi, Lori. Thanks for watching. By the way, guys, Diane and Lori, while you're on YouTube, if you could subscribe to Dr. Jacalyn LLC, a little plug there, I'd appreciate it. But you bring up a good point. So Rach Boehm is the face, is the brand. And so you're expected to be out front where everybody can see you, but yet you're also behind the scenes taking care of all the things that nobody would have any idea about. And what I found is, as Dr. Jacalyn, is if you started offloading every single piece of the business to someone else, you probably would never make any money, because every aspect costs thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. So we have to learn how to do it ourselves until the business gets to a certain level. And then I guess you can offload everything. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, yes, 100%. I mean, you have to make smart decisions. You have to know where to invest your time and money. And it's a constant question of, do I have the time to teach myself this and figure it out? Or do I have the money to have somebody else do it and do it well? And you're always asking that question, right? Like, in this particular situation, what is my limiting factor? Time or money, right? Maybe it's skill, but if you have the time to learn the skill, then there you go. Even I was chatting with somebody about the question of, like, why do you not change your own oil if you could? Because you don't want to take the time. That time is better spent somewhere else. So we're always making these decisions. And I think from a business standpoint, entrepreneurs just have a lot more of them, maybe, or the pressure's just a little bit turned up.
And, I like what you said before about supporting small business, because that's the backbone of this country, right? And there's small businesses have really been hit hard. But when you think about it, like, I think to myself, how many things I purchased from the big guys, right? That maybe I should have been spending the money with the small business owner instead of going to the major name brands who certainly don't need my business.
Yeah, I mean, yes. And then but I'd also say, I mean, I shop at the big stores too, and I'm not saying don't. And a lot of the stores that we think are big are actually franchises. And that means that person is you're still supporting, a smaller section of maybe a larger name. So it's not about throwing everything out and just following one path, but just being a little bit more conscious of where else could I get this good? And who else might I support sometimes? The other thing is too, there are ways to support people in business without spending any money. And it is, when it's appropriate, liking their content. I'm not saying don't do anything you don't like, but if you see something that you like, engage with it, support it, spread word of mouth. If the product's not for you, but that, or the service is not for you, and somebody that it could help, make that connection. It costs you nothing but a few seconds, and it could mean everything to that person, because especially with business owners, there's, I think, maybe some pressure to always say, like, everything's great, and it's not always the case. And that little note of encouragement or a little love or comment or referral could be everything that person needs to say, okay, I'm going to keep the business going today.
I like how you looked at both sides of it. You looked at what I was talking about with a small business, and then you looked at the big brands and how there's a place for both of them. So I think that's terrific.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we have a call. We have a call coming in. So let me bring on the phone with. Hi, who do we have the pleasure of speaking with today?
John.
Hi, John. Thanks for calling in. Do you have a question for Rachel?
Yeah. So if I understand right, she's been really building this, especially during the last couple of years, and we've seen so much change in the economy. What is her view on the gig economy? I'm really interested in that. Like, how does what she's doing fit in with the gig economy, and what does she see for the future of that? And I'll hang up and listen to the answer.
Great question. Thank you for calling in, John. We appreciate you.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you probably see as well, both of us in a way represent the gig economy, depending on how you want to define it. And I should say thank you for the call and the question. It's easy for us to say, oh, this is where everything's going, is the gig economy. And I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think that it will continue to play a prominent and, increasingly prominent role, is what the trends show in our economy. And so it is something that we need to be mindful of. And there are many, many forms, the gig is the umbrella, right? So there's many forms underneath it. I think in the health psychology world, industrial organizational world, what people are looking at is, for themselves, they're asking, how will we stay relevant? And then also in terms of organizational wellness programs, which is kind of my piece, who is going to supply those programs? who is going to provide for the wellness of those individuals? And what I'm looking at with my dissertation is, and this is when people remind me to stop trying to change the world and graduate first, but as I think it's going to be those unions or those the affiliations, the associations that maybe start providing those for the gig worker, because the organization is not the employer. So only the ones that really are smart and want to invest in the wellness of their people will put forward the resources to do that. That's my hunch anyways. But I think we do need to support them, and there's a million and one reasons why somebody chooses to be part of the gig economy. And it'll just be really interesting to see all of those levels shake out and what it morphs into.
Really great answer, Rachel. Thank you. You know, the whole business of wellness, I believe, has even more focus and is even more important than ever. I retired from my corporate job in March of last year, and we focused on employee recognition as one piece, and then employee wellness programs. And now, given what we've seen with the pandemic and with COVID and with vaccines and the heightened importance of taking care of ourselves, where do you see the wellness? How do you see wellness being, I want to say blown up? I know that's not the word I want, but every organization is going to have to look at the wellness of their workers and also the cultural, how healthy is the cultural environment in which people are working? So where do you see this going, given what we've experienced with the pandemic?
There's been a tremendous shift to looking at mental health and even calling it mental well-being, because there is still a stigma, unfortunately, with supporting mental health. And, you know, I heard someone with the APA say it quite well. We all have mental health. It's not you have that and I don't. Health is health. We all have it. It's a continuum. So where are you on the continuum of mental health? And having that conversation and getting more comfortable is, I hope, where some of this goes. But because of the stress of COVID, you are seeing, again, increased attention to mental health and mental well-being. And I hope that that chips away at the stigma. You're also looking at, or organizations are also looking at what they're calling supplying or supporting the employee lifestyle. And so I think we're going to get into questions of boundaries, of just what does that even mean? And then how are we going to support the managers along the line? So senior, middle, line managers, you know, if that's how your organization is structured, how are we going to support them and train them to do that, to recognize signs and symptoms, and how, if, when it's appropriate to intervene? So I think it's really just going to open up a lot more questions, but hopefully, you know, that's where my field can come into play and really support and guide with an evidence-based process.
I agree with you. And I kind of think to myself, I remember somebody that's close to me was working in an office, and of course they were sent home. You can work from home. But then the employer decided that everyone had to come back into the office. And this person said, you know what? No, I'm raising my hand. I'm not going back into the office. I don't feel ready to go. And so their employer said, well, you're going to have to make a decision because we work in this office. That's how we work. So going forward, can employers require that you have a COVID test every so often? Can they enforce that you have to get the vaccine? I mean, there's all different questions that we haven't had to look at recently. So any thoughts that you have on that, Rachel?
I can't speak to the legalities of what different organizations would be allowed to cover. That would refer simply to, business attorneys to look at those laws and regulations around that. But what I will say is that, it goes back to what I said earlier, which is that we shouldn't be forced to choose between making a living and living a life. And when I said that at the time, even just 20 minutes ago, I meant that idea of burnout, of workplace bullying, both of which I've personally experienced. And I see others, throughout my tenure experience. That's more what I meant, this choice between parental leave and no parental leave. But in this instance, it's health, protecting my own health or the health of my family versus making a living. And we've heard this when it comes to every topic, which is that the pandemic didn't necessarily spark some of these new issues or spark these issues as if they were new. It just opened our eyes to what was already there and exacerbated them.
So true. And you know, as I said at the beginning, you and I could talk for hours. I mean,
we'll be back in March.
Yes, we'll be back in March. And I'd like to put out there that I'd like to have you and Diane come on the show together, another show. I think that would be really fun.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yes, I would love that.
Yeah. So, well, that concludes our show for today, Rachel. For people listening on the radio, we are streaming your website, but please let us know the best way to get in touch with you and for which services that you provide.
Yeah. So go to my website, rachboehm.com. So it's BOEHM.com, and everything, you know, my email, everything is on there, and everything comes to my phone. So I'll get back with you as soon as I can.
Wonderful. You've been a phenomenal guest, and I'm so honored to have you here today. I'm so proud of you and everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
So thank you. I'll see you backstage in just a minute as I close out the show.
Sounds great.
Thank you again for watching, for listening, for engaging. Thanks to our caller. We're always excited when someone calls. It's like rebirth or going to Disney World or something. It's like someone called on the phone. So thank you. We have another show right after this, which is the Variety Show. And we have Kevin Gergel who's going to join us. Kevin and I worked together for years. He's an incredible person. I also want to say hi to Greg Russick. He's been watching too. So thank you, everyone. Look forward to seeing you hopefully at the 6 o'clock hour. Until then, take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. Bye.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, you know, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.